our local languages, but is flawless when it comes to English or in French. Should we be bothered about this trend? And how proud, as you listen to me, how proud are you of our local language and, of course, our culture? Now, I add the culture bit here because, again, it looks as if we're losing our culture. We are copying blindly in most cases. So let's have a conversation this afternoon right here on Love 99.5, okay? Now, we're streaming live on LUV 99.5. That's on Facebook. So if you're listening and you have a comment to make or a suggestion or, let's say, a question, just log on to our Facebook platform. Once you watch us live, drop a comment or two there. We shall reach out to those comments and bring you some responses. So we want to talk about the fact that in many homes and in workplaces, we don't even use our indigenous languages anymore. When you go to schools, especially the tertiary institutions, they don't even use it as a means of communication or even teaching. And this is a concern that some people in some parts of Africa are, bothered about, and they raise this very concern. So I ask again, how proud are you of our, local languages? How proud are you of our local languages and, of course, our culture? All right. Now, should we be concerned that in most cases people are not making use of their local language? Now, that's our conversation, and I'll be activating the phone lines later to hear from you. But this is a birthday wish. Happy belated birthday to Nana Abba Abiu, students of St. Louis Jubilee School. You have a class of Begonai, and it's from Richard Opoku to you. Now, one of my panel members is already with me in the series of Love 99.5, and I'm talking about Dr. Appiah. He's a lecturer at the KNUST, and he's riding with me in the series of Love 99.5. Hi, Doc. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, David.
And how are you doing?
Very well, Vice Grace.
That's the saying. Papa. If you see what called there.
Nami Adum.
Nejuma means where?
Chris Adum. We have a call.
Okay, take
Onyami blah blah.
Touch your water.
Actually, Appiah.
Ni station yote.
David, that's where I can go.
So that's one of the problems.
You see,
that's one of the problems. How many of the local languages can you speak, Doc?
Two. Very well.
She and what?
Fante.
But it's the same category.
Maybe that I can. Okay,
it's the same category.
Apart from that, the rest is just.
Why is it so?
Maybe I would say I've lived mostly in the Akan speaking areas. But you see, if we were staying in some places where probably other languages were, I think I could have picked up more of those languages.
But here you speak English, and you speak English flawlessly.
Oh, who says I speak English flawlessly?
I'm telling you, I know you, and I can tell you that you speak English flawlessly, and so is it not? Don't you feel disappointed?
It is. In fact, I'm seriously disappointed
in yourself.
Sure. It's nothing to be happy about.
Okay,
when
so
you speak a foreign language and you don't speak your... Well, I must also say that I speak my native language very well.
Which one is that?
I can the tree.
Oh, come on. That is to be expected. Yes, I know that unfortunately in some homes, although it is their language, they're not speaking it.
It's not.
Their children can speak a word or a sentence of it.
Yes, if you take 10 people, 10 I can't speak children. I can assure you that 9 of them can't speak their local dialect.
9?
Yes.
Oh, 9 is too far-fetched.
Oh, David.
9 out of the 10 can't speak. I mean, listeners, you interact with people out there. I know don't take this wrongly. I know that people who live around Asafo and Ashtown and Co, you speak your dialect. I mean, your Chi or your Akan. But people who live in residential areas and all, that's where the problem really is. People who attend the so-called international schools, again, that's where the problem really is. So, but do you agree with Dr. Appiah, who says that 10 out of 9 out of 10 of our speaking families can speak the Chi? I don't think it's
no, maybe you're not getting me. It's not about what to say. Look, if you say you can speak a language, you have to speak a particular sentence without interacting with another language,
with any other language.
Sure.
And you should also be able to read it.
Sure. And write it. Sure.
Because we speak English.
Look,
we read English, we write English.
I schooled in South Africa. A typical old lady in South Africa.
Typical who?
Old lady
okay.
in South Africa, illiterate. She can't speak English. She can't understand. but she can write her local dialect. If you see her on WhatsApp, she's writing her local dialect, but she can't speak English. She can't understand English. But her local dialect, don't go there. She will read and write.
Why have we become like this, where we are able to speak the English language, we are able to read the English language, we're able to write the English language, but can't do same for our local dialect or our indigenous languages?
Well, you see, it's part of our education. You see, we have adopted everything foreign, and we were somehow made to believe that everything local, everything that we have native, it's not good enough. And so we just followed blindly and we adopted something without looking at the repercussions.
So you're looking at the colonialism of the African continent.
Yes, and our inability to take hold of our own culture, and as indigenous people look at what those things are going to do to us, and therefore how to change so many other things, and we left it as like that, and then we just followed through. So basically, I would say that we have to take the blame ourselves. Our leaders, I say those who probably at that time were running our education. Now, we should take the responsibility as leaders, as Ghanaians.
Yeah, when you say leaders, what kind of leaders are you talking about?
I'm talking about
traditional leaders or political leaders?
Political leaders, those who were writing our curriculum, our stakeholders, and a combination. And for our traditional leaders, I don't think we have to blame them because they want to hold on to that tradition. But in a name of civilization or modernization, we've told too much to the Western, to the detriment of our local and indigenous language.
So, earlier when I began the conversation, I was looking at people who can, speak local or indigenous languages or local languages. But Dr. Appiah here has added a few things. So he says, listen, it's not just about rattling the language alone, but you should be in a position to read it and write it.
Sure.
Now, so as you listen to me, how many of you can read your local language and write it as well? And if you can, how proud are you of it? Now, if you're not able to read it or write it, but you can speak it, again, tell me, how do you feel knowing very well that you can just speak it, but can't write it? But again, if you're Ghanaian and you cannot speak your indigenous language, how do you feel about it? Do you think that as a nation we should be worried? Because like I mentioned, there's a lady in Nigeria, and she is concerned that, listen, out of the over 2,000 indigenous languages in Africa, in most homes, people are not making use of it. Now, we are quick to speak English and write English and read English. We're quick to, speak German, French, Portuguese, read them and write them. But when it comes to our own languages, we are not able to do so. Now, also with me in the studios is Mr. Anthony A. Adu. He's with the Center for Cultural and African Studies, and he's with the KNUC. Mr. Adu, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
And I hope you're well.
Great.
All right, so your name tells me that you are an Akan, aren't you?
Yes, of course.
So aside from being Akan, which other local language can you speak? Ga, Ewe, Hausa,
My Fanti.
No, but that's still in the Akan bracket. Eguapem, Asantichi, all those things are Chi. So aside from the Akan thing, what else can you speak?
I'm proud with Akan, so I only know Akan.
But wouldn't it be nicer? Wouldn't it be nicer if you could speak Ewe flawless?
Yes, that is an added advantage. That is an added advantage, and it's localized, but not with any foreign language. I'm happy to ask whether I could speak French or German. I can't speak them, but I had a trend, and what I'm just telling you is that know your native language first, and all other languages can be given to you in gratis. Yeah, because if somebody knows how to speak his native language, transferring to other languages is easily learned. Ours is that you can relate to your environment, your surroundings, and the people, the social milieu better if you understand them in your language. You can tell somebody is dead and he just listens. But if you use your language to talk about even death, with even the euphemisms, to sublime the language, to ameliorate it, they will still be shocked. But we take this, like if you know a language and somebody is speaking in that language, it gives you an added importance of what the person is saying. The Gans can come here, you can say a language in Akan, they disregard it. But you say a word in Ga to them, then you are worse off. Because that may be an insult in the language, or it may be profane in language. But that is what society is. So what I'm just saying is that you must know your language, so to be able to relate to your language better. And you can transfer the same knowledge to learning other languages.
For those of you who take this for granted, when you travel out of the country, unless you've been out for 2 years or 4 years or 5 years, and then you are in a train or a bus or somewhere, and somebody speaks a language, a local language, you feel so excited.
Sure. David,
You feel so...
look, when you travel and you meet your countryman, then you get to know the importance
of language.
Local
The
language,
indigenous language.
the indigenous language. Look, I remember I met, there's a friend also called Eddie in South Africa. She comes from the north. He speaks English very well. I'm from the south here. I can't speak any language in the north. And unfortunately, he too can't speak the
Tree language well.
fluently. So when we meet, we speak English. And then somebody standing there and says, but you people, don't you have any language in your country? Because he knows we are all Ghanaians.
And that is insulting.
Very.
That is insulting.
Very.
If you can speak,
And now
if
we're
you can
standing.
speak your own indigenous
Yes,
language,
no.
one.
And we're just, the lecturer said that this man has made a very important statement to us.
But again, isn't it interesting that although parents are not speaking the local languages or the indigenous languages with their children, some parents are so proud to tell you, "Oh, my man don't teach you, bro. Oh, my man don't think." Isn't it not, disappointing?
It's very disappointing. Sometimes you must start from where this thing began, colonialism, and we call this sort of thing invented tradition.
Invented tradition.
Invented tradition. When they want to rule you, they disregard what you have, so that you will appreciate what they have, and you succumb to their whims and caprices. That is why they deliberately told us that some of our cultures, some of our languages, our religions are bad, so that we would accept whatever they are going to give us, and then they can hide whatever we would have discovered from us.
But they're far gone. They are far gone. Why don't we realize and change the situation? Now, I'm worried.
There was a girl, there was a German lady, a Cameroonian turned German, who visited me not quite long ago. And she was telling us, why are you people trying to learn French? You know how they colonize French
And
countries?
they'll beat you if you don't learn.
Of course. And then because you know French, you start transferring all your wealth and properties to France. Do you know how much money they are taking from their former colonial states? And I was shocked because she made a meaning. Why are you rushing to learn people's languages? When in Ghana, there is a language that is widely spoken, not in terms of its sweetness or whatever, but then there are 5 regions using that one language. Everybody understands it. And then the other regions also have their different languages. And if you want a language, when you have 10 regions, of course, you will come to where there is 10. It is better to learn 10 than 1 or 2. But Ghanaians, using this pride and arrogance, that is not making us to accept.
Is it pride and arrogance? It's just about not appreciating what we have.
That is it. The pride is, my language is there. Learn mine instead of learning yours.
We despise our own language. And interestingly, I've come across Chinese who have come here not for Galamsey, but have come down to study the Akan language, speak it, write it, read it, and are learning our history.
Yes.
Learning our history.
In
In this country, there are so many of us who don't even know about our own history.
Sure.
We don't know the meanings of certain things.
Yeah.
some symbols. We don't know it.
Yeah.
And yet people like the Chinese and the Germans are coming down and they are studying it.
There is a university in Germany.
David, let me tell you
A
something.
university in Germany.
They learn Akan.
They learn Akan.
Yes, the lady told you.
Let me tell you something. You know, sometimes we think our students are a little bit dumb or they are not knowledgeable. Let me use that word, knowledgeable. Now, it's all because the language that we are using is not helping them. Now,
That is English?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, studies have shown that when a child learns his or her native language, the propensity for him to become open-minded is greater. Now, you are talking about the Chinese. The Chinese, right from the beginning till the senior high, will not learn any other language.
But
They will use Chinese. When you get to the university, you may decide. Now, what it means is that everything that is being taught the child is being taught in his or her native language, and he appreciates it better.
And assimilation is
And
faster.
assimilation is faster. And there's something that people have also not realized. Look, the children who learn their native languages, and as Mr. Edu said, they are able to pick the other language so easily and better.
Sure.
Better. Unfortunately, we are doing it the other way
We're doing
around.
that with other
You go children who are born outside, like the Ghanaian parents who give birth outside, try and teach their children the local. Unfortunately, those of us here who give birth here, we want our children to learn their language.
I remember when I was young in school, in preparatory school, if you spoke any local language, any indigenous language, you'd be punished.
Yeah, they go to the school, they're waiting there boldly, speak English.
And in our time, what was happening was that they had these plaques with a twine, around it. So you hang it around your neck. So when you're found speaking any local language, be it Ga or Chi or whatever, then you hang it around your neck for like a day or 2 or 3, depending on whatever, and then it's written boldly on it, I will speak English in school. So from day one,
The meaning.
it's the meaning, and we're not proud of what we have.
Let's touch on the seriousness of this phenomenon.
Which one are you talking about? The fact that we don't use the language.
Yes, let's touch about it. It began this way. We were hiding our knowledge from our colonial masters to start with. They didn't understand us. Now we shared our secret amongst ourselves. They wanted to know what secrets we had, and therefore they tried to implant one language on us. And that meant that they also learned the language. So when we spoke, they could understand our secrets. That is, when I was growing up in the village in the 1950s and 60s, what I realized was that we had not only even, I was speaking Fanti, but we didn't have only the Fanti. We had language within, some dialect, which we would speak amongst ourselves. But if you're not from that clique of people, you will never understand.
Is that
us.
language still existing?
Still existing?
Okay.
Yeah, you are looking at me. Oshame. Or Debbie me confie bim kotum penifo. Debbie be me come confie bim me kotum pem nim fufu. I've spoken it. The same language. Debbie confie bim kotum penifo. Debbie be me come confie bi me come kotum to impenim fufu bi wo homo. The same thing. So if you are even a Fanti, because we wanted to hide something from an outsider who's not within that enclave, we will speak that language. So language is meant to be treasured because you can use it to open up a secret. You can use it to hide what you don't want people to see. You see, so it began with the fact that they want to know our secret, therefore speak English, and you can't hide any secret. And we're also trying to open up. You describe everything in English, but sometimes you need your language to identify yourself with all your surroundings, secrets and everything.
Haven't we come to the realization, Mr. Edu, that we are doing more harm to ourselves than good if we are not making good use effective use
Yeah.
of our own indigenous language. When I say effective use, I'm not just talking about the fact that the language is spoken, but we can read it and we can write it.
Yeah.
Have you come to that realization?
Yes, because I was born here in Ashanti. I only spent 7 years of my life in the central region. I can write Fanti, I can write Ashanti, and even partly Ga, I can write. Because I knew my language, I could transfer to other languages easily.
Okay.
Nobody taught me. I never wrote Ashanti in any of my books. But when I came back, after writing Fanti, I could write Ashanti and I can write Ga. partly.
Doc, have we, the same question, have we realized the essence of, working at it and making things better? Because there's been back and forth as to whether we should use our local dialect even in preschool.
Yeah.
We've done this back and forth for God knows how long, but we've not been able to really come to a conclusion and say, okay, this is the way to go. And like this lady from Nigeria is concerned, even in the tertiary, we're not using any of our indigenous languages there. It's all about French, German, Portuguese, and English. And we have over 2,000 indigenous languages in Africa. Haven't we come to the realization and said to ourselves that we need to change it?
Okay. David, I think this country, we pretend too much. Excuse me, but that's the reality. We know the truth. We will hide, close our eyes, and do something else. For what reason, we know it. So the reality is there. Instead of confronting it, then we somehow do some sidekick. We know. Sometimes one of the arguments that people say is that, our local dialect and international, and now we do international. But who cares a German who can speak English?
Well,
who cares?
Most of them they consider the German language first.
Yeah.
And although some of them can speak the English language, they hardly will speak it. They even pretend as if they can't understand or speak
That's
it.
right.
Unless because push comes to shove.
Yeah, but let us get this right. Now, have you realized that now so many countries are learning Chinese
language, yeah.
They are learning Chinese language. Why? Because now China is more or less superpower, sort of. So when it comes to language learning, it depends on your economy. How your economy will blossom will push people to come and learn your language. And we fail to realize some of this is, and I'm also that we know, but just that we pretend it's not happening. The difficulty that we are having, and sometimes it becomes a little bit political as to which language you want to use and that kind of things. And the people assume superiority of one language of another. But it's neither here nor there. Inside Africa, their national anthem, it has 5 languages. They have multiple languages, but they have adopted 5. So what it means is that, for example, if you are in Ashanti region, the main language that they speak is probably Twi. So yes, Twi is being used, but you are being asked to learn another one. If you are in Accra, Ga is the main. Yes, that's what they use, but you are also forced to learn another. And so, if you meet a South African, at least you can speak 2 of them. Some speak more. If we will be sincere with ourselves. Now, I don't know whether you've been listening to the South African Parliament House. They use their local language. Even on TV and radio, they mix their local languages. And they are not afraid. They do it boldly. You were watching this generation that came. They were using their languages, and generation have become an international opera. What stops us from pushing ourselves into? We are hiding that. It is not international.
Yeah.
No,
it's not just about the fact that it is not international. We despise our own language. If you come across someone who says he's a frafra, and the person is speaking frafra, we look down on the person. What is frafra?
What is frafra?
But it is a language that we ought to be proud of.
Sure.
If you come across someone who is speaking ever or ewe, whichever way, people think that I want to know and then we look down upon all these things and we don't realize the harm we're doing to ourselves. So let's talk about the harm. Ms. Haidu, what are some of the harm, the dangers in some of these actions of ours? Not learning our own indigenous languages. What's the harm we're doing to ourselves?
The harm begins from the beginning. When we send our kids to school, we realized that there is a decision that kids must be taught their native languages up to P3. English should be taught as a subject on the curriculum, but not as a medium of learning up to P3. Then after P3, you can start English proper. So that by the time the child starts, he knows almost everything in his native language and can transfer the new knowledge directly to what he already knows. Now, you also realize that as soon as there is these two divisions, experimental or international school, and there is this other CITO, so-called CITO, when the two meet at SS level, I bet you researchers have shown that it's only in the first term that the experimental or international school students perform better. But as soon as you get to the second term, third term, the CITO people take over. Because they are trying to condition their language proper. And once they understand, they can perform better. I am a typical example. From CITO, typical background. 4-year second training college. And about 150 students, 105 in 3 classes, and I was able to rule over the class. I was in the carpentry shop, just in the carpentry shop. So as soon as they get to secondary school, the CITO people perform better. That means they know something, only the coordination is lacking. And the challenges that we are facing is that we are missing very core parts of our cultures because you can't relate to them. You even wouldn't speak the language, let alone understand what it means in that expression. Let me give you an example. People like Professor Ejekum, Lego, this man, Dada Kass, Wesco, now the head of one of the secondary school, and then my own friend, Bosi Amponsa. You know, they are expert in P. They're them in English, and you will be surprised.
Oh yeah, they speak English very well.
So it tells you that people who know their native language can perform better in other languages, and they can relate better in terms of, everything about them. So we are losing a lot because we are not able to understand ourselves, let alone understand somebody. We are torn between. When I was coming, I was giving an example to somebody about telling me, you are going? They say, yes. This is how you ask me. You are going? You are using the final lower voice to ask, put the question mark. You are going? Color red? How? But if you come to school, I told them that if you teach them this thing in the home, when they come to school and we are talking about red color, are you going? Then there's confusion. So this confusion will persist until they get to maybe DSS. Because you are hungry, you are this, you are that. so see, that's the challenge that we have.
On Facebook, Kojo Boedu says, we can't do away with the English language because your program is also in English.
That's right.
And Kojo Boedu goes on to say, well, love your program. Well, I know you love the program. I love it too. But we're not saying don't learn the English language. We're not saying don't speak the English language. What we are saying is that learn your indigenous local language.
So transferring will be easier.
Transferring will be easier.
Yeah.
But isn't it sad that, listen, you are an African or you're a Ghanaian, and then you go to the Volta region and you want to communicate to somebody or with somebody, you have to do it in what?
English.
In English. Or you go to another region and let's say you bought a taxi and some people want to rob you or want to go and kill you and they're speaking a language, local language, isn't it not sad? But if you understand Nzima, because you've taken time to learn Nzima or Ewe or Ga, and somebody wants to harm you, they are communicating alright, but you understand what they're talking about. You can protect yourself. If they want to swindle you, you've already gotten to understand what it is they want to do to you. But here we are. Now, Ebenezer Na Sebi on Facebook because says, I miss your favorite program for years, and for the very first time, so many years, I'm now watching you live, and I'm extremely happy. And that's the diary. He says, if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart. And that's the message on Facebook.
David, I hold in my hand a research done in Lithuania 5 years ago, the role of native language in learning English. And it's so interesting. I'm just reading the conclusion. The study was about how they want to try to see those who use their native language, they learn, and then how they can also learn English. And the conclusion was that, let me read one. It says, all learners customarily rely on their mother tongue in learning English. Secondly, the amount of the native language that students need depends on their proficiency and linguistic situation. Thirdly, which is the most important thing, the statistical processing of the research fund, even though data is significantly small, gave very positive impression that those that were using their native language were able to get the English language better. I don't know whether you get it. And I'm saying this in addition to what Mr. just said. When you learn your native language and you understand and you grasp it very well, I can assure you, when you are learning English, you find it easy. In my house, my children, and incidentally, all of them had 1 in 3. All of them had 1 in 3.
So you know, just say one yard and say Okasa.
Yeah,
we don't appreciate.
And all of them, the least they had when they were in primary, DHS, SSS, the least they had in English was 75. 75. In my class, sometimes you are teaching and you can see that no, these people are not getting it. Somebody, you ask the question, they are sitting down. Then I say, oh, they can tree.
In the university?
Yes. Okay. I'm saying they can tree. I open up and say, they are not person can I hear? And everybody start laughing. But they make their case very well. Then I say, okay, if that is what you want to say, that's fine. Let's put it in an English. And people start grabbing. We are losing the mind, the intellectual brains that we have, which we think they are not good. We are losing them because of the use of the English down there.
Well, I have a confession. My very first daughter, when they came down, could not speak English. I mean, Chi or Ga, and I didn't really bother. Until we went out somewhere when she was quite young, and somebody spoke to her, and she could not make a head or tail out of it. And I realized that I was doing a lot of wrong and harm to this young girl. So even now, although she can speak and she can understand, because of what happened to her when she was young, she's not confident enough to say it. And I feel bad about it. But gradually, it is changing.
Okay.
Gradually, it is changing. Now, if you're a parent and you have a child who cannot speak any of the local languages or the indigenous languages, especially the ones that you yourself you represent, then it's a big shame. Indeed, it's a big shame. Interestingly, there are 2 people who are married. Most of them are Ashantis. And yet their child or children can speak Ashanti. Because the 2 of them, even at home, speak English. And they think that is what is a bourgeois thing. I don't know what it is. So when we return from this very short break that we're about to go on to, when we return, I would like for us to know how we can improve the situation.
Okay.
What measures we ought to put in place, and who can play which role in there? Because I'm sure that the politicians have a role to play, traditional rulers have a role to play, and then as a society we have a role to play. So we will see that in the next 10 years, because another decade is before us now. In the next 10 years, what impact or what change or difference will we be able to make? When I also return, like I said last Monday when we had a conversation on the diary, I told you that I'll try the whole of this year. I'll be coming up with job vacancies, and come to you with friends and people who have job opportunities out there. Today, I've got some great news for people who are accountants. Now, if you're a professional accountant and you have a degree, you know how to drive, you have a professional driver's license, and you're computer literate, well, I've got some great news for you all coming up your way after this very message.
Kwamo Miankana Dandison Limited, Amadansia Yafu Papa, the Brunya Chedia Wakofa by dear Editrum, Upper Floor and Wall Tiles, a bit to say porcelain and also ceramics, marble tops, security doors, plumbing pipes, and the whole accessories are who doing now. There was sanitary fittings, electrical wires, fitting, any lights are who do Bioya Sibiabanya Bi Elho, aluminium balustrade, any paint Bioya Dandison Limited, Abaura and Maya who do Pimu, and Akofan Yamay Adiaba, and until Senior Sikatibia, Ubenya Sono dear. Your engineers Papa Bia Okra, your back stretch will be for Adansia, Wayan Caprobampo, Uber Dandison Limited, our Nana Akwesi Ajman Drive, Yanis Central Baptist Junior High School, and the Wababi Fakum. Yes, also by S5, our Croft Room, a hot dear Air 24 Freya, our 0243 330607, 0243 330607. Dandison Limited, Brunya Chadia, Ayafwe, Ama Fogusu Ayetso.
Oh, this gate. Hey, Mr. Techi, please come and help me open my gate. I beg you. What is wrong with this gate? You know, this is the second time I've changed this gate after the thieves broke into my shop 2 months ago. When I open it, it always gets stuck in the middle here. I don't know why. I'm even tired of it.
Papako, I've always been telling you, never compromise on quality. You see, I've been using my roller shutter gates for the past 10 years, and I have never had any problems with it because I got it from Donima Steel Complex. Donima Steel Complex provides quality roller shutter gates at affordable prices. They are of high quality and impossible to break in. That's not all. They have the manual and automatic gate systems, which are ideal for warehouses, domestic stores, and garages. And they are installed by professionals without any extra charges.
Had I known.
Don't had I known, yeah. Visit Donima Steel Complex at Asafo YF Junction, next to the Ghana Revenue Authority office, or call 0244 126 625. Donima Steel Complex, home of tropical products.
Obi na invite me say memra wedding. Na me bedroom here. The shaman for dressing. There's more room for improvement. Me say Messi family one me gina ha. Mr. Ultimate mo. Me nya kira wo say who wear Ultimate Fashions mo. Ref Ferdinando, Kenneth Cole, Max Fendi, Perry Jacob, and member chefs Papa B. Italian shoes, slippers, sandals, khaki, material trousers, office wear. Enye na o. Enye memma nko o. Emma die wo. Emma nyoma ye sheko wedding, party, engagement. Brands from across the world. Ellen Trace, Adriana Papel, Jones New York, Tehari, Casper, any bebre keka ho. Se mu hia mo ho sa na se mo da na di sa no a. Mo da na di spectacularly. Said ye be ya enkrofo be hu se oh wodro no edi mu. Wedding gown, wedding gown. Kolanta de ni nyina wo Ultimate Fashion. O mapon wedding no. Comment about me.
I like your dressing.
Medasi.
Abrantie, why you do?
Oh, thank you.
Hey, why for now, Barabe?
Oh, Debbie, Edum here. Kumasi Ultimate Fashions, Prisons Runabout. Accra, opposite UTC. Ultimate Fashion. Beauty is our style.
All right, so it was short, wasn't it? Well, I'm back. This is Love 99.5, and you're listening to The Diary. Are you a Ghanaian? All right, so what local language or indigenous language can you speak? And is it just about speaking it, or you can write it and read it as well? You write English, don't you? You read English, don't you? So if you say that you are an Akan, an Ashanti person, or a Fanti, or a Kiapim, can you read, write, and speak the language? I'm a Ga. I speak the Ga, you know, and unfortunately, I have a broken way of writing Ga and a broken way of reading to understand Ga. Sad, isn't it? Now, I speak flawless Fanti as well. But I will struggle. I'll take my time to read Fanti. I can't write, you know, Jack when it comes to writing anything in Fanti. But again, I call myself a Ghanaian. Isn't that sad? Now, there are some homes where some parents pride themselves that, well, their child or their children can't speak any local language. It is sad. So if you are such a parent, please don't be excited about it. Don't be happy about it. Because that is who you are. Speak English like the Queen or the Queen's, you know, son. It doesn't make you a British. Sure. You understand what I'm saying? So, what would you want to say to such parents, Doc? The parents whose children are not speaking any local language and they're proud about it.
I ask, what are they proud of? That the child speaks English fluently. But they lose sight of the fact that the English alone, it's not making them knowledgeable.
And indeed, for those of you who think that a child cannot learn multiple languages because it will be too much for them, it is wrong.
Very.
They can learn 4, 5, 6, even 10 languages at that age.
Yes. Because you see, let me also even use this as an example. You know, my first daughter when we gave birth to her, we were trying to speak the English. The reason why we were doing that was that when we were staying, and I want to add this to our discussion, because sometimes the local dialect, we for like you said, people that stays in a particular area, we tend to make it so profane to the extent that we don't guide our children when they are speaking. So we said, the people around, the way the kind of profanity that is, we don't want a child to learn this profanity. That's why we said, okay, let's try and use English. But then we realized that we were doing more harm to the child. So we started using the local. And at a point, she got confused as to which one she grabs until we stopped the English, and later we were using the English. When you see, I walk around and I sit in a car and I see parents talking to their children in English and trying to polish them.
Then they want to slang. I mean,
yeah, and
the
I
Lapa
said,
is there as well.
Look, you are doing the child more harm than good. What it means is that the child is being tuned to things outside his domain and his environment, and therefore some of the things that he could have even grasped as part of his learning ability, you are taking it away. Because children learn out of play. As they play and they pick words and they pick the things around them, they are learning out of it. The things that we are even speaking, the language that we are speaking with, they don't even relate to our environment. So it makes them difficult linking the environment to the languages that they are speaking. And you wait until later years, and then now you are trying to correct them into knowing some of the things that they should have known earlier.
Well, I'm always happy when I hear, our king, Otumfo, speak. When the man is speaking the Ashanti Chi, you'd love it.
Yeah.
And again, when he wants to speak English, you would love it again.
Sure. I was in a church meeting, and then they had a Chi Bible. They wanted somebody to read
the Chi Bible,
and nobody was there.
Nobody.
And then I said, so I didn't know, they were just working helter-skelter trying to look for someone. Then I said, why? You want somebody to read? He said, no problem. I said, now who went to your country? Don't worry, I have a person can. And after I finished reading, I said, now who did you say? No, I said, but I'm Santi. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
Well, you enjoy my conversation.
I speak Chi, I read Chi, I read Chi. I have on my phone, I have Chi Bible.
0322083596. What do you make of our conversation? Should we, as a people, be concerned about the fact that in many homes in Ghana, people are not speaking their local languages, the Chi language, the Ghana language, the ever. We're doing English. Should we be concerned? Should we be bothered about it? By the way, you tell me, how proud are you? How proud are you of your indigenous language? And do you speak it? Do you read it? Can you write it? 0322083596. Join our conversation. Let's hear from you. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, what's your name? Sir.
I want to keep my name because I'm embarrassed about what you're discussing.
All right, so go ahead, please.
Yes, I have children. I thought that whilst they are home, people will speak Twi, so they'll pick. So I started speaking Twi to them, and now they can speak English very well. But when I even try to speak Twi to them, they laugh at me because I will say something and they don't understand what it is. I spoke to the teacher about it. Then he said, "Oh, don't worry. As they grow, they will learn the Twi." I thought they should have encouraged me to also try to speak the local language to them. What I have done now is that if I speak only Twi, they don't understand. So on weekends, we all agree to speak Twi in the house. If you can't speak Twi, don't talk.
How old are they?
They are.
How old are they?
6, 4, and 2.
6, 4, and 2. Wow. But at least you found out early, and you're doing something about it early.
Yes, the one who is 2 now, when she's speaking English, sometimes she will say something in Twi because she's now picking. But the adults no. The older ones no. I pray that this program that you are having today will cause a great change in all of us.
Yeah, that's our prayer as well.
You can do something great.
But what are you first?
David, I will not tell you. My voice, you know who it is. I will not tell you. I'm embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed. Thank you very much for the call. Chemical, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, boss.
Chemical, can you reach me?
Somehow.
Can you write Chi?
Dave, I'll manage.
Please go ahead. Let's hear you.
All right. Dave, if you visit the NHI office of the choir, their stations are always locked to laugh. So let me say hi to them. I know they are listening. Dave, you see, growing up, we were meant to know that if you are able to give out the flair that in terms of speaking the English, yes, and so it has become a culture. Even when you speak a typical tree, you give out the proverbs, the idioms, then they tag you, hey, Akwede, no food, papa. So it's like everybody became was behaving as a way that even if you know it's the real typical tree name, you are shy of bringing it out. Because people will begin to say that, hey, you stay with your granny and you came from that bush and what have you. And that one has resulted into this attitude of, it's like everybody wants to do the tree way, the English way. And with the English aspect, it's like they want to make all the chit-chats, especially with the ladies. And so even with the kids growing up in our homes, everyone wants to train the kid with the English. But when they go to school, their friends, they are communicating, they use the tree. So I think it's high time we go back to the tree, we learn and learn it well. That is the mother tongue in which we were brought up. Dave, thank you for your discussion. It's a great education.
Thank you very much, Chemicals. I appreciate the call as always. Sammy.
Yeah.
F1.
Good afternoon, sir.
Madeko F1.
Mefo. We'll go for
F4.
Okay. Dave.
Yes, sir.
If I say come treat.
You too.
And February, and I'll be fair or love it. And Pacha and catch you are joy of it. Pacha, no, and catch you are and color good. You're more canon, but me minimum I dream she yet, ha. Acolano, it depends on your tear or bad say. They may send me back, me share one money cabo. Say, when you hear out of the world, no, go baby, I won't drink cabo. I won't drink her. She no, they are not. One see, when you problem, so. So, ye are near air. My name is Shabro, no auntie, no uncle, baby, or Miakasa. I think some kinds of see another Ugusa Ubia, or such no couple of who say, she know I can't cry on so I sign yet. Can't let you phone the BB. I won't get children yet. Mamma, for if I for look at all these things. Timon can't go for no chanting ye, chin no more on better. They are called Biana and Colan on catch. Omutinka. We don't for chance, tree, because far for la district, on Tibet. Say, good Benina. Yes, I'm okay.
But Sammy, you know what? We're not saying that we should not learn the English language nor speak it. So if you had Love FM, we say, listen, we're an English spoken station or speaking station, and therefore when we call speak English, it's for a purpose. But we'll be glad, and that's why I say, for example, that our king Utufo, he speaks flawless Chi, speaks flawless English. That's what we're talking about. So yes, call on Love FM, speak English, but it doesn't mean don't speak other local dialects or languages.
For the local language, they are here. They will speak it down.
That's our mind, Sammy. That's our mind. So we'll continue from there. I'm grateful.
It's a problem, oh.
Maoli. Maoli, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
What is tickling you, Maoli?
I said the last thing the man said, Charlie, writing a meal. Easy.
Maoli, go ahead. Let's hear you.
Dave, actually, Dave said everything that I actually just called to say. We've grown up in that particular environment where we see other things to be too diminished in that particular order. Right now, if you are at a gathering and you are speaking Chi, it will be like, this guy is a villager. The name say, probably now in our world, everything is about English. The very fact that you can speak good and fluent English, it's just a wise you may be, we are intelligent, who go school, we first class. That is not the issue, David. This issue you are discussing is affecting everybody. It's affecting me. We have a family gathering every quarter of the year. And when we go, I probably chair the meeting, and I have to be using different language to chair the meeting. My father has been complaining we should use our local dialect because we came to meet as a family. We should use it. But David, Mintiminka. And see, most of the times, it disturbed my soul to that effect. Say, whenever I'm around my father, I just want him to speak the language to me so that I learn from there forth. Probably maybe the other languages like the English and that stuff, I can read it, I can learn it from school and those and forth on. But we probably diminish ourselves to the extent that when we are even in the house, we want to speak English to our kids.
That's what we do.
It's not so good.
That's what we do.
So negative. You know, because of this thing you are discussing, I have involved myself in a Bible society in my church, and I read good Chi right now.
Wow.
I'm talking to you. I'm a Voltarian. I can read Chi. I can write Chi. But
thank you very much.
Language, David, is so difficult for me. I don't know.
Thank you very much, Maule. I'm sure you'll get there. That's why we're beginning a conversation like this. Carl Lucia, good afternoon.
Dave, good afternoon.
How are you?
Anthony.
Huh?
Anthony.
Nah.
Good. That's the one for you.
Yeah, I know.
David, it's good that you are doing this show. We have slaved our mind. It's mental slavery. Anything from us is not authentic. Definitely we'll be losing grounds. If I'm able, if I'm in a queue and you just come there in Ghana here, and you are able to speak good English to the one who is attending to us, I'm telling you, he will look for you first before me. David, those who came from diaspora this morning, in a journalist was just asking them a question. They said we should set ourselves well. It's when they are able to speak the English that they learn, Ghanaians tend to respect them more than us. David, it's insulting. Let's respect ourselves. David, if the shoemaker in Central Market, design a nice shoe, made in Ghana here, made in Ghana, won't buy. Made in Italy, will buy it. Meanwhile, we did it. We have slaved our minds. Thank you for this program.
Well, thank you very much, Lucia, the political thinker. Good afternoon. Hello, political thinker.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, sir.
I think in Ghana we are confused because we have so many languages in Ghana, and like academically, if academically we use English throughout, because like if you are in Kumasi here, they only do Akan. If you go to Accra, they do Ga. If you go to me, I'm Kusati man personally, but so if you go to Boku, they speak they do a Kusasi in terms of academics. So if you don't know how to speak the English well, like you cannot make any good academic this thing in Ghana. So I think even though English is not our language, but that one is driving us, because math is English, science is English. So if only we can translate science, math, and science, math, English.
To local languages, it will help. Political thinker.
Our own local dialect.
It will help.
We translate it into G, science. If you go to Ghana, they do science in Ghana. If you come to
so political thinker, that would help us. My time is really good enough. Thank you very much for the call. Let me speak to Avi. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, let's hear you, Avi.
Yeah, please. I think the problem is, for instance, in my case, I've realized that sometimes when two people get married, from when the couple are two different tribes, you find it very difficult as to which language they will speak to the child. So they come to an agreement that they should speak English to the child. So the child will end up not speaking that of the mom and not speaking that of the dad. So I don't know. That's one of the causes why sometimes the child loses his or her mother.
Avi, very true. Thank you very much for the contribution on the show. Now, at this point in time, let me share with you that information. I told you that this year I've been nosing around and bringing to you vacancies in some workplaces. Now, the management of a hotel or a hostel company in the heart of Kumasi is seeking to employ a self-oriented and business-minded accounts officer. Requirements are as follows. The applicant must have a degree in an accounting-related field from a reputable institution, must have at least 2 years working experience in the related field, must be between the ages of 27 and 40 years, must be an IT person, and must be able to drive and have a valid driver's license. Any knowledge in procurement and purchasing supply is added advantage. Now, salary, and other conditions of service are negotiable. So make your applications ready and drop your CVs and applications to the mailing address below. That is PO Box AH 9501. AH 9501 Ahinsa in Kumasi, or drop it at the front desk of Love FM not later than Tuesday the 21st of January 2020. So I brought you one vacancy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat the same information tomorrow, but start